The 206 bones of the adult skeleton provide structure and protection and facilitate motion. The skeleton protects vital organs. The brain is surrounded by bones that form part of the skull. The heart and lungs are located within the thoracic cavity. And the vertebral column provides structure and protection for the spinal cord. The skeletal system is also the site of calcium and phosphorus storage and blood cell formation. Inside the bone marrow of spongy bone, stem cells give rise to blood cells. Interactions between the skeleton, muscles, and nerves move the body. The nervous system sends commands to skeletal muscles to contract, producing movement at joints or articulations between bones. Movement of the skeleton often involves pairs of muscles that perform opposing actions, like flexing and extending or bending and straightening. Muscles involved in these paired actions are categorized as agonists and antagonists. A muscle that contracts to generate the main force of an action is called the prime mover, or the agonist for that action. Muscles that perform the paired and opposing action are called the antagonists. The agonists in elbow flexion are the muscles that contract to bring the elbow joint into a flexed position. The antagonists are the muscles that perform the opposite action, elbow extension. When the action of elbow extension occurs, the roles switch. The triceps brachii is now the agonist and contracts to extend the limb, while the biceps brachii muscle is relaxed and becomes the antagonist. Muscle interactions throughout body regions involve paired actions. These include flexion and extension, elevation and depression, and pronation and supination. The ball and socket joint, found in the shoulder, is a freely moving joint that can rotate on any axis. The wrist joint is a condyloid joint that allows for circular motion, flexion, and extension.
As the body moves, the vertebrae of the spine move against each other as gliding joints.
Hinge joints, like the elbow, move on just one axis. These joints allow for flexion and extension.
At the top of the spine, the atlas and axis form a pivot joint that allows for rotation of the head. In the hand, the thumb's saddle joint lets the thumb cross over the palm, making it opposable.
Sutures are non-moving joints that connect bones of the skull. These joints have serrated edges that lock together with fibers of connective tissue. The interlocking edges make sutures strong and fracture-resistant. All skull joints are sutures, except for the joint connecting the mandible to the temporal bone, which is a movable synovial joint.
Somatic reflexes are automatic responses to stimuli that allow for fast reactions before messages reach the brain. These reflex actions occur in a series of steps known as the reflex arc. First, a sensory receptor detects a stimulus and a signal travels through afferent neurons towards the spinal cord. When the signal passes through the gray matter of the spinal cord, a message is relayed from the afferent neuron through an association neuron to an efferent neuron. This leads to a quick, automatic reflex reaction that occurs without the need for processing in the brain.
The muscular, nervous, and skeletal systems interact to produce movement. Messages travel through the nervous system to the skeletal muscles that attach to bones throughout the body. The fibrous appearance of skeletal muscles is created by the arrangement of proteins inside the cells that form muscle tissue. Motor neurons of the nervous system connect with these skeletal muscles. Movement occurs through a series of steps. Impulses from the nervous system reach the neuromuscular junction. The neuron releases a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. It binds to receptors on the muscle and begins a chemical reaction within its fibers. The muscle filaments slide across each other and the muscle shortens or contracts. This action produces movement.